Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mr. 4 here. Today I am back to cover a deck that I've not covered in a very long time, and that is for God Hand Dragon. Now you may be wondering why I'm choosing to cover God Hand all of a sudden. Well, firstly, I've not done a V-deck profile in very long. Secondly, I've done God Hand I think many years ago, but then again that video wasn't received very well, so I decided to come and try it again because frankly things have changed. I managed to get my hands on some grade 3 searches, so the deck actually has gone up. In a sense, I would say this deck is more relevant than ever because of a very simple reason, and that is that more people are actually playing the Heal Guardians. Heal Guardians were not a thing when we did this video last time. So Heal Guardians, in case you don't know, are basically these heal shields that you can use to help protect yourself in the early game, but they trade off in the late game. Guess who profits in the late game? That's right, it's going to be God Hand Dragon. So God Hand Dragon is a deck that's focused around fronts. So basically you want to pull as many fronts as possible and just blitzkrieg and crush and completely destroy the opponent. And yeah, that's basically the point of the deck. So the deck is basically a one turn kill on turn 3. You basically throw as many rear guards as possible, stack as many fronts as possible, beat him in the face, and hope you win. How successful does this work? First of all, it depends on what you actually draw into. But more often than not, I would say you actually have a pretty decent success rate, especially now with Heal Guardians and whatnot. People trying to be more aggressive, they put down more stuff during their turn, so they have less cards in hand. So yeah, you do actually have quite a good chance in actually beating over. So yeah, let's actually cover this deck in its entirety. Our grade 3s, obviously we play 4 copies of God Hand Dragon, who's drawn by Daisuke Izuka, 3 copies of Master Tigong, and 3 copies of Discarded Ashura. So this deck, as you can see, is a very simple deck, nothing too complicated. Let's cover God Hand Dragon's skill. He's the main card of the deck. God Hand Dragon, during your turn, the fronts that you pull during your drive check, the bonus goes up by another 10,000. So if you flip a front, instead of getting 10k, it gets 20k. But this is only during your turn, it doesn't apply during the opponent's turn. Anyways, it doesn't matter because when he attacks, counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand. This unit gains an additional drive check, and if your opponent's grade 3 greater, he gets +1 critical. Now, you don't want to really be going first with this deck, going second, sorry, with this deck. You mainly want to be going first. The going second +1 crit, it's really only there for one purpose, and that's solely to just ensure that, going second, you still put up some crits and try and end the game. Other than that, really, it doesn't matter. It's just the count +1/+1 drive. God Hand really doesn't plus. This is a deck that sincerely doesn't plus. Net 0 or minus a lot, but it's for the fact that you put on hell a lot of aggression and just hopefully break his face in and he dies. Speaking of stuff that net 0 is Master Tigong. Master Tigong has a skill on V or R, because the other guy was just V. During your turn, the fronts that you pull have their power increased by another 5,000. So as you can tell, this is going to be a recurring trend where every front you pull is going to get even bigger and bigger and bigger. And like I said, that's generally how you win the game. Next skill is when you pull a front, you can discard a card from your hand. Stand this unit gets drive -1 on V or R. So you can have a restanding Vanguard with Master Tigong if he's the Vanguard. But if it's on a rear guard, you get a restanding rear guard. So you can attack with Tigong first, swing with God Hand, then Tigong stands again. So this is how you really benefit from the front bonus, but Tigong will only stand if you check a front, which means more rather than not, Tigong will have one unboosted attack, and his second attack will then be highly powered. This is contrary to the rest of the clan staples, like stuff like White Hang, Kick Typhoon. Yeah, you don't really get that, so it is something for you to take note that is an actual issue with this deck. Not with the deck per se, it's more of Master Tigong. But Master Tigong is here because he's here for necessity. He is still a front support, he is still a great alternate right target, so he's still something you should take note of. Last but not least is Discarded Ashura. Discarded Ashura is a really nice card in my opinion. What he does is very simple. When he attacks, Soul Blast 1, you stand this unit. Very straightforward. You can just throw up a front bonus and then you just Soul Blast and then boom, he punches you twice with that front bonus. So it is pretty insane, I'll say. So yeah, do keep him around. Our grade 2s, we play 4 copies of Fusing Striker, 4 copies of Kick Typhoon, and 4 copies of White Hang. Excuse me. So it is as intuitive as you can get because most of these are really clan staples, as you can tell. So I'll break them down real quick in terms of the more specialized ones. So the only one here is Fusing Striker. Fusing Striker has 2 skills, which is, when placed on the Vanguard Rearguard Circle, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add a God Hand from among them to your hand, and if you do, discard a card from your hand. So basically, he's a Grade 3 Searcher as well in the Grade 2 slot, which is pretty insane. His second skill is obviously the fronts that you pull will be increased by another 5,000. So Fusing Striker really doesn't do much in terms of actually killing the opponent. He's just another front bonuses, but he does give you an extra search for God Hand, which is valuable and does count. Then we move on to the more clan staple territory. We have stuff like White Hang. White Hang, when he attacks the Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1 and draw a card. And in a bell, he attacks, Soul Blast 1, draw a card. And then when he attacks on the rearguard circle, discard a card, choose one of your other rearguards and stand it. It's a once per turn skill. So that's fine. So this is generally how you get more restands. Yeah, I mean, I don't really need to explain White Hang, and neither will I have to explain KK Typhoon. KK Typhoon, when placed on the rearguard circle, that's an XL or the Vanguard circle, choose one of your units, he gains 5. This counts himself, by the way. And then also when he attacks, if all your front row rearguards are full, counter blast 1, choose one of your rearguards and stand it. Again, this is another great way on how you can innovate to really pull off your stand bonuses even further. Kick also chooses a unit to gain 5 when placed, which generally tends to be your kill turn, so you can be rest assured that you get extra power to help your rearguards hop over the defensives, if any, and win. Moving on to our Grade 1s. Our Grade 1s, we play 4 copies of Starfighter Silver Fist, 3 copies of Arashid, and 4 copies of Great Bengal. Yeah, as you can tell, it's really more of the same stuff. Really nothing has particularly changed. So we play Starfighter Silver Fist at a 4. Starfighter Silver Fist increases the bonuses of your fronts by another 5,000. Okay, cool. And when his attack hits on the Vanguard circle, you get to draw 1 card. And then after that, yeah, you just get to draw 1 card, and then after that you have to discard 1 card from your hand. So it's a net cycle. It's okay, really. You're using it just for the fact that it has the 5 cards in front, and he's one of the nicer arts in the God Hand support. So you can tell that really nothing here net pluses, is all just net zeroing. And then of course you have Great Bengal. Great Bengal is another great example of net zeroing. When placed on the rearguard circle, you choose a front and you just put it on top of the deck. But you must reveal it first. It must come from your hand as well. So not only do you actively minus from your hand, you do also throw out a 7k body, which isn't that great, but given the fact that the entire deck turns on with just a singular front, yeah, I would say it's pretty worthwhile. Although I do wish for more front support, and I do know for absolute fact that this is going to be the first card I throw out the second they give us a better front stacker. For what it does, it's okay. And lastly, we have 3 copies of Arashid. Arashid is just a Grade 3 Searcher. Based on VRR, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add a Grade 3 from among them, and then after you discard 1 if you add it. And when a rearguard stands by a card's ability, he gains 5,000 power. Really, he's just a 3-off just to finish the slot. Last time I used to play stuff like Shout, but Shout isn't really effective because it removes the triggers from your deck, and it gives advantage to your opponent. 2 things you definitely don't want to do in 2022. So yeah, I feel that Arashid would be a better candidate. Last and not least is going to be our Grade Zeros. Our Grade Zeros, obviously, we need to play 12 fronts. We play 4 draws and 1 starter. So yes, we are not playing any form of heals. We're not playing any form of crits, because neither of which I needed. Fronts, because this is a front-based deck, so you want to go heavy, it's like Tachikaze. But at the same time, because this is a balls to the walls aggression kind of deck, you also play 3 draw PG, because this still needs pieces. As you can tell, this deck mainly net zeros, and you kind of want a lot of people on the board, so you gotta provide for them. You gotta pull up them draws so they can do it, and Bellraiser is the best starter. And yes, that actually wraps up the God Hand deck profile. Yeah, it's a very simple deck that I just wanted to really recover again, because I realized that, that there's a lot of reasons why I can cover this deck now more than ever. So yeah, in a meta where a lot of stuff's more fragile, you have stuff like Steam Maidens going around comboing people off, you have stuff like Luat, Davos, you have stuff like Heal Guardians especially. So much has changed since the end of V, and a deck that is once considered absolute trash could now actually have a chance of being a semi-decent road. it is an OTK deck at heart, so you cannot expect 100% win rate. Neither is this any form of reliability in terms of high meta. But I'll say this is definitely a fun rogue pick and definitely one of the most cathartic decks you could play in the entire game of Vanguard. Most OTK decks like Hamiel or full power Luat, you kind of just groan and moan and you just watch the DOTX just slice you to a million pieces and you just cry. But when you lose against God Hand, or even when you win as God Hand, you can't help but root for the God Hand player. You're like, oh my god, I can't believe he did it. And yeah, that's really the experience you want to have. This deck is not expensive either. It's Nova Grapplers. Nova Grapplers are not doing well. So yeah, I would say definitely pick them up if you have the chance. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.